How lovely. Well, I got my tea, got some detox tea. I hope y'all are ready to begin on a little bit more of some Art of War. Let's dive in. So, today is going to be a little bit different. I hope you guys like the audio. I hope you all like the audio quality a little bit better than before. Um, Today we are going to wrap up chapter 4 because it is now May and we're going to move into chapter 5 starting tomorrow or the next day. Chapter 5 doesn't have as many, but it's about energy. And I think since there's only 23 verses in energy, it's going to give us a little bit more time to reflect on one or two points at a time and really kind of harness the spring feeling that's in the air. You know, a lot of people are getting more active, a lot of people are uh, finding their goals to lose weight or accomplish this or accomplish that. So to kind of keep the energy flowing, I want to uh, to 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 follow up with that. But anyway, let's wrap up 4. This one is going to be a little bit longer because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 verses in the main book, the one without any interpretations in it. But when you jump over to the pocketbook version, those same are wrapped up into 1, 2, 3. Those are wrapped up into 3 interpretations in this. So without further ado, let's dive into the last, let's see, 2, 4, 6, the last 8. So, chapter 4, 14 through 20. Verse 14. Hence, the skillful warrior puts himself into a position which makes defeat impossible, and does not miss the moment for defeating the enemy. Verse 15. Thus it is that in war the victorious strategist only seeks battle after victory has been won, whereas he who is destined to defeat first fights and afterwards looks for victory. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Allergies are killing me. But you guys, I think 15 right there, that's kind of one of those very important ones to focus on because it essentially is telling us that the the person who wins and is victorious in the end is the person who knows that they will be victorious. And the one who is destined to be defeated, those are the ones who jump into the fight without having a plan. It's so itchy, I can't help it. And this is lot I don't, it is what it is. They they jump in, they don't have a plan, and then they find a way to try to win. So, whereas he who is destined for defeat first fights and afterwards looks for victory. So I think verse 15, I mean that is like, man, that is highlightable. Verse 16, the consummate leader cultivates the moral law and strictly adheres to method and discipline. Thus it is in his power to control success. Verse 17, in respect to military method, we have firstly measurement, secondly estimation of quantity, thirdly calculation, and fourthly balancing of chances, and finally fifthly victory. Again, firstly measurement, second estimation of quantity, third calculation, fourth balancing of the chances, and fifth victory. So that is the military method. And I think you guys can apply that to a lot of business and a lot of things in life that you want to do. You know, first you got to measure it. What does it take to win? What does it take to overcome whatever challenge you're placing in front of yourself? Estimation of quantity. How much time is it going to take? How much resources is it going to take? Are you going to have a huge initial outlay? Is there going to be a huge upfront investment? You know, one of the things that I talk about in one of my videos a long time ago is how I feel really bad, I guess, because people kind of brought something up, but like one of the things that really kills me is like when people get into a new hobby, whether that be hiking or working out, they go hard and they go all out, and they buy all these new gym clothes and they buy all this new hiking gear. You know, they buy all the bells and whistles when all you need is a t-shirt and a pair of shorts and a pair of tennis shoes. And you can go to the Dollar Tree, I mean, not the Dollar Tree, the Goodwill, I was trying to say bargain store, and pick up all of that stuff. I bought a nice new pair of $60, they're probably more than that now. They're very known name brand shoes for $9. Now they were a little beaten up, but they look great and they wear great, and I'm just so happy to have a new pair of knockaround shoes. Um, Verse 18. Measurement owes its existence to earth, estimation of quantity to measurement, calculation to estimation of quantity, balancing of chances to calculation, and victory to balancing of chances. Uh, to me, verse 18 basically says once you start measuring the known, and then you estimate, and then you calculate, everything builds upon itself. You know, you can't really, you can't go backwards. You can't find victory and then figure out how you balance your chances. And you know, it is, you know, everyone does say begin with the end in mind, but in order to get to the end, you have to do the steps. You can't just, yeah, otherwise you're going to aim high and you're going to hit low. 19. A victorious army opposed to a routed one is as a pound's weight placed in the scale against a single grain. Last verse, number 20. The onrush of a conquering force is like the bursting of pent-up waters into a chasm 1,000 fathoms deep. And that's it. We finished number 4. Chapter 4. On to chapter 5 next. In the big book, this is energy. I hope you guys are excited as I am for this one. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Very cool. So, chapter 5. Alright, now let's wrap it up and see what our little pocketbook guide says. And I'm already over here, chapter 5. I've already got it marked, right, with those little tabs that I talked about. Now that, you know, we're moving through this one a lot slower. But again, you guys, like, keep a highlighter in hand. Alright. So, Master Sun, those who use arms well cultivate the way and keep the rule. Thus they can govern in such a way as to prevail over the corrupt. Aha! No, we gotta go back a bit. Oh, let's just double check something real quick. You know, I might have made my bookmark a little bit ahead. So it is... Yeah, no, okay, we got a little bit more than I thought. So it is that good warriors take their stand on ground where they cannot lose, and do not overlook conditions that make an opponent prone to defeat. That one is 14. Hence, the skillful fighter puts himself into a position which makes defeat impossible and does not miss the moment for defeating the enemy. Alright. Li Quan says, the army that finds its ground flourishes. The army that loses its ground perishes. Here the ground means a place of strategic importance. And remember, ground is a metaphor in the modern age, but at the end, Master Sun says measurement owes its existence to earth. So, earth, ground, I'm sure we're going to get to that, I hope. Dumu says, ground where one cannot lose means invincible strategy that makes it impossible for opponents to defeat you. Not overlooking conditions that make opponents prone to defeat means spying out the enemy's vulnerabilities, not missing any of them. I think that this does wrap up a lot of what we've been talking about, in the sense of, if you're gonna be skillful in the art of business, or if you're gonna be skillful in whatever new hobby or task that you're trying to accomplish. For instance, if you're gonna try to start working out and losing weight and going to the gym, don't don't put yourself at a disadvantage. Don't go in thinking that you're going to lift X amount of weights, or you're going to do this, or you're going to do that. You know, what you need to do is you need to go in, get a lay of the land, take your measurements, make your calculations, and remember, like, the low-hanging fruit, like we talked about in the last video. Find the easy victories. Build your confidence slowly. Okay. Therefore, a victorious army wins first and then seeks battle. A defeated army first battles and then seeks victory. So I already kind of touched on it, so let's not spend too much time. But chow chow, cow cow, sow sow. I don't know. This is the difference between those with strategy and those without forethought. Truer words, right? I mean, strategy is why we're doing this, why we're taking the time to go through this, because we want to learn from the masters. We have Seneca, we have Marcus Aurelius, we have Sun Tzu. We have so much wisdom available to us. Let's learn from it. Ho Yanqi says, in a military operation, first determine a winning strategy, and only then send forth the troops. If you do not plan first, hoping to rely on your strength, your victory is uncertain. So, let's take that apart, right? Because if you only rely on your strength, your victory is uncertain. I like that he says it's uncertain. You know, it's not sure that you're gonna lose. There's so many times in my life that, I mean, I can definitely admit to, when I've gone in half-assed and, you know, half-cocked, ready to go, and I've been able to and you know, think my way out of something that I've undertaken, you know, some sort of task or some sort of goal, or you know, just some sort of adventure for the day. You know, one time when I lived abroad in Spain, I had a friend, and she came to us and she was like, hey, I'm gonna go to this city over here to go climb these mountains, and you know, next thing you know, we're taking a train out of town and we're hiking through the mountains and going on a grand adventure. And we went on this fun adventure. We trekked through farmers' orange fields over there in Valencia, and you know, we were just going all over the place, and we took a train out and then hiked our way back over the mountain, and all of this fun stuff. But again, we didn't really have much of a plan. We winged it. And you could tell at certain points, like, if we had planned better, we would have had more water. Giolin says, if you set forth your battle lines and lightly advance without knowing your own condition or that of your opponent, you may be seeking victory, but in the end, you defeat yourself. I like Giolin's take on it, because if you lightly advance without knowing your own condition or of your opponent, you may be seeking victory. So if you lightly advance without knowing your own condition, I like that portion of that interpretation, because when you lightly advance, it's like you're tiptoeing, right? You're not sure. There's no confidence. It's just kind of, all right, like, let's do this, but let's not go all in, right? At the end, he talks about the rushing waters. It's like rushing waters in a chasm. So know the plan and execute from there. All right, Master Sun. Those who use arms well cultivate the way and keep the rules. Thus, they can govern in such a way as to prevail over the corrupt. The consummate leader cultivates the moral law and strictly adheres to method and discipline. Thus, it is in his power to control success. Shao shao, cow cow, cow cow. Skilled users of arms first cultivate the way that makes them invincible. And the way is capitalized. I think that's a subtlety that needs to be noted. So, skilled users of arms first cultivate the way that makes them invincible, keep their rules, and do not miss defeatist confusion in opponents. Li Quan, using harmony to hunt down opposition, not attacking a blameless country, not taking captives or booty wherever the army goes, not raising the trees or polluting the wells, washing off and purifying the shrines of the towns and hills and countrysides you pass through, not repeating the mistakes of a moribund nation. All this is called the way and its rules. When the army is strictly disciplined to the point where soldiers would die rather than disobey, rewards and punishments that are trustworthy and just are established. When the military leadership is such that it can achieve this, it can prevail over an opponent's corrupt civil government. That's a lot to take in, and that's a lot to basically say that good will overtake evil through and through, time and time again. Hold yourself to the high ground, right? Always be disciplined, always know thyself, and the immoral and the corrupt will take them, they'll lose in the end. So just always be striving to be the best and be harmonious and follow the way, the capital way, right? What is your way? And I think that would lead into a huge topic and a huge discussion of morals and ethics. And I'd love to keep these videos short, but if you guys ever want me to hone in on any of these specific ones, please leave it in the comments below. I would love to. Don't forget to smash that like button and that subscribe button. Alright, the rules of the military are 5. Measurement, assessment, calculation, comparison, and victory. They combine the two. The ground gives rise to measurements. Measurements give rise to assessments. Assessments give rise to calculations. Calculations give rise to comparisons. Comparisons give rise to victories. Cal says, by the comparisons of measurements, you know where victory and defeat lie. Short, simple, to the point. Wang Chi says, the heavy prevail over the light. Simple and to the point. I mean, combining those two to have them so truncated, I think we need to, take another look at it. But again, I kind of went over it in my own way. I think that, you've got to measure, you've got to estimate the quantity, you've got to calculate what you need to do to accomplish the task. And then you got to figure out if it's worth it. Is it worth an initial outlay? What is your required rate of return? What is the net present value? What's the future present value? What factors are you looking at? Don't just go in hoping to find a way to win. All right. And here is where they combined 19 and 20. Therefore, a victorious army is like a pound compared to a gram. A defeated army is like a gram compared to a pound. When the victorious get their people to go battle as if they were directing a massive flood of water into a deep canyon, this is a matter of formation. So that's really nice how Master Sun ties it all back up into this is a matter of formation. Right? He says having your army in order, yourself in order, having things in order is, what is it? Why can't I think of it? Pound of flesh. I don't know. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of any of that jazz. I mean, back then, it was still being used. So Dumu says, when water accumulates in a deep canyon, no one can measure its amount, just as our defense shows no form. When the water is released, it rushes down in a torrent, just as our attack is irresistible. Right? So Dumu basically saying for SunTzu, Master Sun, that if we continuously improve upon ourselves, right? Water accumulating in a deep canyon. We are the canyon. We are immeasurable as to how good we can become. Our defense shows no form. We can't be measured because we've followed the formation strategies laid out in this chapter. So when it comes time to be on the attack, it's irresistible. Like, nobody can fight it off. Our attack is irresistible. It's like a massive flood pouring out of the canyon. That's pretty powerful. How, yes, it's called formation, and when you think of formation in the sense of the literal idea, it's how you form an army. How, like, what formation do you take? Those are the word that's what comes to mind for me. And in his main book, it's, tactical dispositions. I think that's more appropriate. A tactical disposition. It's how do we talk to ourselves, prepare ourselves, how do we work things out in our mind and plan and execute. It's not about what we do the day of the battle, but all of the times before, right? Like, all of that sweat is worth just a little blood, because it is so much better to go through all the pain and agony of training and preparing instead of failing. When failure is not an option. It's one thing to go out and do certain things and fail forward, and I'm gonna have so many, if I haven't already had so many videos about how failing is it's a data-rich learning experience. I read that in a book. It's the best way to learn, by failing. And then long time ago, I had a mentor or someone giving a speech. I don't remember where. I just know that in my journal I wrote, fail forward. Don't fall forward, fail forward. If you're falling and failing, you're learning. And so there's a difference in when battle needs to be won versus when we need to learn by failing. And if you can measure, right, like he says, if you can measure and plan and do all of that stuff to decide what's worth it and what's not, then you can say, okay, well, we can go test this. We can go find out if this is going to be a success or not by training for it, or by introducing a new product to the market through a soft launch, or trying a new method of bringing on clients, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that's why, the book that I talked about in my video, How to Devour Books, is really great, and you should definitely check it out. But again, guys, thank you for watching. If any of this was particularly helpful, please quote it in the comments below so others can learn from it as well. And hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and until next time, friends, we'll see you then.